All right. I am Doug Cunnington, and this is another one of the interviews for Five Figure Niche Site, one of the success stories. I have Dave Fox. Thanks for joining me today, Dave.
Yeah, no problem.
And Dave was featured a few times on Niche Site Project for just being an all-around cool guy. But he's also an accomplished niche site owner, and he sort of came out of nowhere. And we'll talk a little bit about the background of how we met. And I'm trying to remember, Dave. It was like the very end of 2014, right?
Yeah, it was over the holidays.
Okay. Because I remember we had like a few coaching sessions the early part of 2015, and I think I sort of remember it was like either the end of December or January. It was very cold where I was at, but
Yeah, same here.
yeah. So in fact, I guess let's get into it. So where are you from, and professionally, aside from niche sites, what's your job?
Okay, I am from Ontario, Canada, near Toronto, some little city of 100,000 people. I won't even say the name of it because it doesn't matter. No one's going to care. But it's near Toronto-ish, right? And yeah, it gets pretty cold in the winter and stuff. So at the time, I guess when I started doing the niche site stuff, I just happened to be like stuck inside for like a couple months with
Yeah.
like doing some house sitting. So I had nothing to do. So then that's how I came across the stuff. But
Cool.
my actual like profession or whatever is like teaching music. So that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years.
Cool.
Professionally, I guess. Professionally meaning like I have my own business. I take on private students and I just teach them at their homes and stuff like that. So I was doing that a lot more at the time when I started doing the niche stuff.
Cool. Very cool. What's your favorite instrument that you like to play?
I don't know. I would say at this point it's probably singing.
All right. All right.
It used to be like more drums, I guess, but I just haven't had the chance to play them as much. But singing, I can kind of do in the car.
All right.
And I teach it too, so it's fun to teach singing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, I guess, are you doing niche sites full time right now, or are you still doing some, private lessons and stuff?
There's a few of them sort of thrown in there. I haven't been able to kind of shake them off completely, although I've been trying a little
All
bit.
right.
Like, had a lot more students, and kind of when I could have called them back, I just don't now because I don't need to because I've been making most of my money from niche sites. So
Very cool. Well, I mean, I guess if you're comfortable with sharing, what's your sort of current average monthly revenue from Amazon?
well, the thing about it, like average, I don't know because I keep waiting for something to be sort of the same month to month, but it keeps sort of changing. So the last few months has been pretty good. So I last month I made 4,100, and that's American. So for me, that's like 50 something hundred in
Okay.
Canadian.
Damn.
So
So you crossed over the 4K mark per month.
crossed over that, and it's sort of
Damn.
like it seems to be like consistent at this point. Like this month probably will be the same or maybe better depending on how things go. Like there's a lot of ups and downs, right?
Sure.
So you never quite know what's happening. Like
Right.
those earnings, it's like I had like the worst day of the month yesterday. But then it's been pretty good before that. So you just keep taking you'll take a hit and then it'll like soar up to like some other, some crazy number, and you're just like,
Wow.
I don't know what's going on here, but okay.
That's cool. Well, and I know, per our like previous interview on Niche Site Project, I think it was around December and January, you were making like 1,000 or 1,500. So you've gone up by like, 4x roughly over the last 6 or 8 months, which is awesome. So congrats on that.
Hey, thanks.
Now, I want to sort of rewind a little bit, and a lot of people that are taking the course, either they've never created a niche site before, or they're starting their first one with sort of the rigorous process of five figure niche site. So I'm curious about you and when you first heard about, niche sites or just sort of internet marketing, that it was a thing that you could do.
Yeah. It was during that one winter, right? So like or no, it was the year before I met you. So it was like a full year before I actually bumped into you, and I was having like a really kind of bad time
Sure.
in life or whatever. Like without going into the sob story of everything, it was just sort of like I just sort of had moved a few times and like there was like a breakup and all this stuff. So I was like at
Right.
home, kind of like twiddling my thumbs or whatever. And I don't know what actually like got me onto the topic of it, but I really don't even remember it because you know how things go, right? It was
Yeah.
one thing leads to another, and it was like I bumped into I started watching those videos by the lazy ass stoner.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that was the first like guy that I watched like a few of his videos. I'm like, what is he talking about? What is this guy talking about? So it seemed like kind of because his videos are pretty like sort of funny,
Yeah, they are funny.
right?
He's a
So it
goofy
had
guy.
that sort of like, is this guy for real? Like, what is this? So I started, watching a few of those, and then that's sort of what got me rolling on it. But it was sort of a weird beginning because I didn't really take it too seriously at first, but I did start watching a lot of things and taking a few different little actions to just
Sure.
like maybe I'll make a website. So even that in itself was like nearly impossible at the time, right?
Yeah,
So
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Um, that's cool, man. Like I think the lazy ass stoner or whatever his name is, he got a lot of people started in internet marketing. So he's done.
maybe, but I don't actually talk to too many people that know who he is. So whenever I bring him up, people are just like, "What?"
Yeah, he's probably like some Harvard grad or something like that, or
I don't.
Oxford. He's a British guy, right? So
He's British. I actually think I'm pretty sure he is a stoner.
he does look like a stoner. Yeah, if anyone watching like hasn't seen his videos, he has a lot of YouTube videos, and
Yeah,
yeah, don't go down the rabbit hole, but you can check it out.
it's pretty entertaining. But so yeah, and I think I've said this to other people too. But I think in case you think that I'm just saying that this guy does these ridiculous videos, I actually think they're pretty legit in the sense that he does like what he's saying does make sense. So I mean that did help me
Sure.
get into it. So can't
Yeah.
really knock it or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like he actually knows what he's doing in certain areas. It's just his shtick or whatever is kind
Yeah.
of unique. I remember someone referred to like one of his videos to me. It was like some like mom blogger, and she was like, I know it's the lazy ass stoner, but he got me started on Pinterest.
Right?
So, and I was like, really him? But I mean, she was like, I followed the techniques and it was fine. Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll get back to it here. Fast forwarding a bit, actually quite a lot. So
Yeah.
like three-ish years ago, you first started learning about internet marketing. Now at this point today, which like currently it's like July of 2016, or sorry, August of 2015, 2016,
Whatever. Yeah.
um,
16.
the summer. How many niche sites do you have right now?
Well, there's always, I have about five, but
Five.
there's more floating in the background that I don't, that are kind of like half active,
Okay.
like, but five that I probably actually look after.
Okay. And that leads into the next question is how long is your timeline to see revenue from a new site? Well, we'll say like $100 a month.
Okay. Okay. Interesting enough. Like I have a site that's about 6 months old that I basically modeled after the Niche Pursuits project, right?
Hmm.
The latest one. And so I started that one in about February or something like that. And it's doing about 300 a month now. It's like 6 months old. So I was actually surprised because my friend was asking me about it.
Right.
And I'm like, I probably made like $50 this month if I'm lucky.
Uh
But then I hadn't actually looked. So I
huh.
looked, oh, 300, shit, okay.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
good.
that's cool. And
It is cool.
do you know when it hit that? like the $100 mark? Just curious if you recall. Like, I guess since you didn't watch, you don't. It was probably last month or whatever, right?
It was probably the month before that. Like I did notice, because I guess I've changed my sort of technique when it comes to just how I kind of look at the earnings too. Like for instance, just I don't know if I'll go into this for a few seconds here, but like basically I used to, you know, look at the I'd be looking at the analytics and I'd be like looking at, you know, the page traffic or whatever, and I'd be like, okay, I should be looking at the page traffic, you know, that's what I should be looking at. And then someone told me, they're like, why are you looking at the page traffic? You should be looking at the Amazon page and like the earnings. And I'm like, right, so I should be looking at the clicks on Amazon. And they're like, no, not the clicks, the earnings. Like, who cares about anything except for the earnings? I'm like, how could I just look at the earnings? Like, don't have to look at everything else. And so, but eventually it came around to being like, now I kind of just sort of glance at the earnings. Like, I'm too busy to like stare at that stuff all the time. So I noticed that that site was earning stuff, and I'm like, good. It should be earning something maybe by now. So around month 4, I was like, okay, I got a sale. I'm not assuming that it's going to make anything until because in my experience, it's not till like the 8th or 9th or even like the year where it's like making something where I can like, you know, write home about it. Right. So in this case, it was, I guess, pretty good. So yeah. When I actually sat down and looked at the numbers, because like sorting through my like IDs or whatever, right. The Amazon IDs, I was like, oh, this one's doing way better than I thought. You know, like that's pretty cool. So
yeah, and just background. So I asked this question to all the other interviewees, and usually most people say around 6 months is when I would expect to make like, you know, $100 or so, like on a consistent basis. So, you know, you're right. I'm a little surprised that you hit the 300. You know, obviously you're doing something right. You're doing a lot of things right to make that happen. And I think, you know, your previous experience you were referring to, I think you just know more now. Like you're not wasting your time on some other stuff. And you're busier, right? So you're not like checking your stats as much, and you're like focusing on the work. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's probably why, you know, I don't know why you hit 300 so fast. It's probably, you know, just you're awesome, you know, something like that.
I think it's more like that. I know why it is. It's actually because it's not because I'm awesome. It's because like that site, I decided to do like an authority site, right? So that spread it like way like wide open to be like, you know, an authority site's essentially like multiple sites in one. So I did that, and I decided like, you know, before long to like, I just was like slamming it with content. It was just like to the point where I like basically like, I'd never done that so much like content creation, right? I'd just be like, okay, well this site needs a ton, like, cause it's going to look really stupid if I have an authority site with all these sections and all this stuff and there's like nothing in it. So I was like, start feeling kind of like self-conscious about the site being like up there and being like, there's nothing on that site. It's going to like, if you got to that site, it's either got to look really like full or like just don't even bother, right? So I just started cranking out the content to the point where I was just like, wow, like this is a lot of content. I wonder what's going to happen with all this content.
Sure.
And so I think the result of doing that, eventually some of the keywords started to stick, and then like some of the earnings started to come in. But it's like an insane amount of work. Like if you have a normal job, I doubt you'd be able to do the kind of content stuff that I was doing, because it's like 3 posts a day for like weeks and weeks, and like they're all different, and like they're all like, you know, it's not like I'm just churning it out. It's actually like I would sit there for hours and edit a post and edit another post and be like, okay, well, the site is actually growing really fast. So I mean, Google sort of, I guess, recognized it and started bumping it up a bit with the stats. So I think that's why.
Gotcha. Well, and you know, you led directly into content, which is sort of the next thing I was going to talk about. So, how many pieces of content are on that particular site right now?
I think it's about 150.
150. Wow. Yeah. So, and how long are each of the posts?
Just your typical length of about 1,000 words or whatever. Like none of them are too crazy long. Yeah, there's nothing like, I think on other sites I've done like the cornerstone content type stuff. I think this site I managed to avoid it a little bit because there's just so many topics. Like I haven't gotten around to like the. Oh no, that's not true. Actually, I've done some fairly long articles on this site, but
Hmm.
it's more rare to do those for me. Like I'm not. I'm just sort of doing your average length
Okay.
articles.
So about 150 pieces of content, which is a lot, of course. You said it was a ton of work, and then
Yeah,
about 1,000 words each on average. That's cool.
yeah,
And I take it, right, that keyword research is sort of like the cornerstone of all that content, right?
yeah. Pretty much. Like I mean, the thing about that site is like I got a little more. I don't know. I'd say freewheeling with that site because I guess the type of content that like the topic of the site allows me to just kind of do try different things. So, for
Mhm.
instance, half the site at least is totally just information and not even thinking about like affiliate links at all. So, I mean, like that was
Cool.
another new thing for me to do, like info posts to that extent.
Yep. Well, and it's like you're reading my mind because I was going to say how much of the content is product affiliate driven and how much is not. And it's great that you mentioned the 50-50 mark because that is exactly what, in the course 5 figure niche site, that's exactly what we're aiming for. You need to have that other content or you're going to
Right.
have trouble with Amazon. Amazon doesn't want just totally affiliate content. They want to sell stuff, but they don't want it to be like in a spammy way. So,
Yeah, for sure.
the content's important, and then it also just makes your site like more well-rounded. And I guess probably for you, Dave, like once you got out of once you got your first site, making some good money,
Yeah.
now you have a little more freedom and you see the value in having that other content, right?
Yeah, I guess I stopped being so obsessed with,
Yeah.
you know, that type of thing.
So for your new sites, like how broadly are you planning that content? So I know you mentioned 150 articles, that insane amount, right, for your newer site.
Yeah.
Like how much of, I guess, how many of those articles did you know you were going to publish, and like what's your overall content plan for the site?
I'm just trying to fill out the site essentially. So because like for instance, there's one part of the site that is essentially like since it's sort of it's like a global topic, I guess. So I have the actual like planet is on there. It's like
Yeah.
every country this or whatever. So when I set up that section of the site, I'm like, oh my God, like I can actually fill this out. Like and then I haven't at all. Like there's so much, like so many countries in the world, but I like was ambitious enough to like, propose that that's going to actually fill itself out at some point. So that I forget the initial question, but like that was sort of it just like let me do content for just so much. It's like an insane amount of stuff.
Sure.
So
And it was around like just content planning and like
right,
how
right.
you do it. Like, do you just have like a big ass list of keywords and you're like, well, we're just going to work through the list and see what happens, right? Or what do you do?
Kind of like it's more. I'll get sort of stuck on a topic, and I'll be like, okay, well, this topic can at least use 10 posts right now. So, and then I'll just sort of like do like a mini niche sort of like analysis of the keywords and stuff, and then I'll put that on the site, and then I'll be like, all right, I'm kind of sick of that for now. I'll come back to it later. I'll zoom over here. It gives you a lot more sort of room to be creative, I find, and sort of although it is like kind of daunting because
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't really know what is happening with the site. Like I thought that site actually maybe would not rank at all because I'm like, is Google gonna promote a site that is says it's going to be a huge site, but if it's not huge at the moment, is it really gonna
Right.
promote? But it seems to be like I think the key for that site is Google's going like, okay, this content doesn't completely suck, and it's coming out frequently enough that you're trying. So like as long as you keep trying, like it's the theme of Google, right? Where it just wants consistency and it wants like it likes it when you work. Like I have a this is a tangent, but like my one of my relatives is like kind of a little YouTube star now. Like
Oh,
actually
yeah.
he just hit 1 million subs on YouTube.
Whoa. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I know. And so I just know from like what he's done that like I've read about this too, where it's like to hit that number, it's like you have to. He's been basically doing posting like stuff every day for like 5 years, essentially, right? And so, and the content itself, besides that point of what the content is, I think the content's like kind of it's that kind of ridiculous stuff that people post on YouTube that is sort of just like whatever. But it's still like you can't judge it because it's doing something. But the point is that it's just like consistent content every day. And now that he's up to that number, I've read about it a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's like basically every as long as he keeps posting, all those rabid fans will just keep tuning in and stuff like that. So basically, he has to post now. He has to post, and so I kind of look at it like a bit like that too, where it's like I gotta post. I gotta post every day, and Google is rewarding it. So like you're kind of a slave to the grind a bit, but you get rewarded. So
Yeah, interesting, man. And it makes me think about the fact of like doing something every day, like over and over again. Like, man, he must be like pretty good at that now.
yeah,
You do something every day, like you can't help but get better. I mean, he's obviously taking it seriously too if he has that dedication. So,
yeah,
and that's to say, just to be clear, one doesn't have to post every day if they don't want to. For example, a good friend of mine has a particular site that only has, I think it's about 20 like affiliate articles and maybe like 20 other like non-affiliate articles. Maybe it's only 10, and
okay,
it's making this is a single Amazon site is making like 10K a month, and it's just, there's not that much content, but there's a shitload of backlinks, right? So it's
yeah,
like you need to either focus on, your promotion strategy or your content. You can
right,
do both. Like I kind of like a blend. So I have, some guest posting, some strong link building tactics that I do. And then there's some other content that's sort of like I am going for low volume of searches, but high volume of content. So just to be clear, no one has to post every day. That's very
yeah.
daunting. So,
That's
but that's the key of what you said. Like, you were able to get that site ranking because there's just a massive amount of content. So,
and yeah, just to say like I don't do any backlinking for that site at all. Like I don't even think about that at all. And so, I mean, I want to think about it. I want to like I wish I could devote time to it, but like I mean, when you're just doing so much content, for me, I'm good at the content, I guess. Like I'm good at um, that's the part that I enjoy. And so like the backlinking part always, like has always been a thorn in my side a little bit. Like I've never really got onto it. Like I can see how it works and I can see that it's a how you could have a 10K site with just like, 20 articles, but like yeah, you'd have to be pretty good at like say the promotional side and I just suck at it. So I mean,
right. Well,
yeah.
it plays to your strengths. I mean, just a little background. Whenever Dave would send me an email, it would be like 2,000 words. It'd be several pages. It would take me a little while to read,
Yeah,
and yeah, the point being, you're working with your strengths, and you're not like fighting against your the things that you're not as good at or the things you don't enjoy. But you could
right.
type super fast, and you
Type.
can write really well. So that's what you're doing, and it's working. So okay, back to it. I'm just looking at a couple questions here. Now, I think you kind of covered this before, but like your benchmark sort of performance for a site, like if you're now like watching, your stats, like what are you looking at to know like it's working?
Well, I'm definitely looking at like the Google Analytics and like Search Console stuff. I was sort of not in tune with that as much,
Hmm.
whereas now I'm in tune with it. to a certain extent. Like I still don't use it to the degree that some people that are like business people probably use it, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, I know what I'm looking at now that when I go in there, like I'll look at um, like the individual posts and the traffic on each post and be like, okay, well this post sucks. No one's looking at it. No one's reading it. Like you can learn that from those two different properties, right? Like you can look
Sure.
at Search Console and be like, okay, this one gets no clicks, like, or this post, like, and I do it like, to be honest though, like lately, in addition to doing like content, like making new content, I am going back and fixing a lot of stuff that I like spent a year like effing up, like
Hmm.
and I mean, I have to because the content is like potentially good, but like the URL is screwed up. The content itself looks ugly. Like, so I'll spend half my time just being like, oh my God, why did I do that? So I have a spreadsheet for this where I'm like my one site that's got like 200 posts on it. And I'm like more than halfway through, but every day I have to go fix one of those posts. And it's
Right.
just, it's draining. But if you didn't learn how to do it properly and your URL is some like 20 word thing where everything's in the wrong order, it's like review, like starting with the word review best, blah, blah, like you're sticking review and best in every URL, like for, and so like it
Yeah,
could be a
yeah.
good post and Google could like it, but it's like you've like shot yourself in the foot by doing this some, keyword stuffing the URL and making it. And then when you look at what's actually working, it's like, oh, it's just this and review. Why didn't I put that in the first place?
So simple. It's always so simple.
Yeah, supposedly it should be simple.
So, if you think about things in the, I guess, for a beginner, right? What are
Yeah.
the top three things that you think are critical to focus on for a beginner?
Okay. Picking the right niche so that it's not just a bunch of stuff that sells for like $2 on Amazon. So when you sell something, you're not going to make like 10 cents. You don't want to, if you're doing this sort of like the way we're talking about, it's like you obviously want to make a little bit of money doing this.
Hmm.
So it's not like like I've had sites where the entire like product line is based on like super cheap products that like even when I did sell a couple, I'm like, hey, wait a second, I'm only getting 10 cents. Like this is like
Yeah.
8 months later, like after working on the site for like 500 hours, I'd be like, wait a minute, this wasn't a good idea at all. Like what was I thinking? That definitely is a thing
Okay.
for me, I guess. And then so what else? Making like I guess simplifying the way that like if you're not really good at like if you're not like a designer, like I'm not a designer, like I'm not a web designer, people keep thinking, oh, he's into websites, he must be a web designer. I'm like, I'm not a web designer. I can't really, I don't, my sites are just like if they look good, it's because I've avoided making them look horrible. Like I've simplified and like there's not a lot of stuff on them. So simplify your post so that it's just like get it so that it's like you can look at it and be like, okay, I get it, I got it. It's not like I spent like months making things because there's this one plugin called Canva. I
Hmm.
don't know if you know Canva, but it's like because at some point I was like, why doesn't WordPress just let you change the font size? Like this is pretty stupid. Um, so I found this one plugin, Canva that basically lets you, highlight words and like change the font size, change the font. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like amazing. I can change everything. So I started highlighting everything and like making things with neon glow and stuff. Like I did that for like 6 months. And that's part of my like, having to go back and fix things. I'm like, I have to take all that neon off all those posts. Like that was a stupid idea too.
And it's like GeoCities, or MySpace, old school looking sites.
Yeah, like just it's not the right like it doesn't even like the niche doesn't match. It looks awful, right? So I was just
Right.
so excited to be able to change the font that I went overboard. Yeah,
That's funny. Okay, so it was picking the right niche so the prices are relevant enough, and then like don't try and make the design complicated, keep it simple. And then
right.
your third critical thing to focus on early would be
Let's see. Well, if you've got that, those two things, that's pretty good. I would just, yeah, okay, look at this is a good one. So looking at the competition, like you do, like if you're doing this, the way that we're talking about, again, you should definitely like spend time looking at the competition in like the Google search results that you're like, if you don't see that guy who's like if you pick the topic and you're the only guy in that niche, like it's probably bad. Like I used to think competition was
Yeah.
like, yo, competition's gonna get you, but it's like you need to see those people there because like if I don't see those people now, I'd steer away from it, right? If I don't see like I
Hmm.
was just doing a market analysis yesterday for some like music stuff, and again, it comes up where I'm like, music just seems like such a like I'm not seeing what I need to see here. I'm not seeing the traffic anywhere, like which I guess sort of music's just a tough one. I've been trying to like figure it out because I'm a musician, so I've been trying to set
Hmm.
up a music blog, but then I'll look up, music blogs and stuff like that, and I'll be like, where's all the traffic? Like where are people going? It's not music blogs kind of have like crappy traffic and so or they won't be monetizing or something. I'm like, I don't want to make a site that's going to be like, not able to monetize, not able to get traffic. All these music blogs are like the ones that I've seen that are doing really well that are kind of like run by like one or two people,
Hmm.
like their traffic is like at tops, like not very high.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking for the angle in that sort of niche where I can go like, this makes sense to do this. Like there's a lot of like top 10 people doing really well right now, as you probably know.
Hmm.
Like it sort of
Yeah.
dominates like every single niche. Like every niche has like top 10 this, top 10 that.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily make me want to make a top 10 site, even though like that seems to be how everyone's making all the money right now with everything. But like I just keep bumping into that stuff, and so yeah, just picking a niche that has like that sort of potential to be like a big site and make you some actual money, right? Because like you don't want to pick a niche that has no competitors and no one's spending any money, and you can tell
Exactly.
looking around.
Very, yeah, that is an excellent point. And yeah, it's something that I struggled with too. You know, it's like
Yeah,
I thought I found like the perfect niche because there wasn't anyone in it. Turns
yeah,
out, you can't sell anything in that niche.
yeah,
So that's why.
yeah.
Okay. And moving on a little bit, can you talk about any like roadblocks that you ran into early and like how'd you overcome them?
Uh, like how about people thinking that what I was doing was really stupid was a big one.
Oh yeah? Okay. So like if you want to
Like lack of support, like in the sense of actually getting like ridiculed and mocked,
right, right.
being like, so what are you doing now? It's like, oh, I'm trying this out. It's like that's stupid. You should definitely like that doesn't even make sense. What are you doing? Like, these are like my friends, right? That are
Yeah.
friends that are they don't believe in you and all that stuff. So I mean, even from doing this, I've changed like some of my friends. I've swapped some of them out because I'm just like, get out of here, you jerk. Like this, like every time you talk to this person's just like, oh, you're still doing that stupid stuff. Well, that's never gonna work. Like, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, oh, this horrible job like that I hate, but like, don't worry about me. You're
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I mean, that's one thing where I mean, it's demoralizing, especially like when like it does sort of seem like when you get into affiliate marketing that it's like, it could kind of be like a like fake, right? You're
It
just
seems like it. Yeah.
because some people will be like, oh, like you're gonna make, I make like $100,000 a month. What's the big deal? It's like, what are you talking about 100,000? Like, you know what I mean? Like these people and their claims. Like some people actually are making like amazing money, but there's other people that just they're talking. They're a lot of talk, right? And just
Hmm.
so I mean, yeah, but the support thing, I guess, like it matters to me that people. I don't want to brag about it but at the same time, I want people to be like, oh, that's a legitimate thing you're doing. Like that's interesting, and maybe ask me legitimate questions about it, not treat it like it's like this joke,
The fake thing. Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think when I first heard about this stuff, it was only a few months before you, Dave, and it's like you can make money online, like that much money. Like it's crazy. I listened to like Smart Passive Income, right?
Yeah,
And when I hopped on, Pat Flynn was making like 50K a month or something like that, which is insane.
yeah,
So I wouldn't have imagined. And then, when you talk about, if you just met someone and you're like, yeah, do these Amazon sites, I can get paid, 4 to 7.5 or 8% of the commission. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, that doesn't sound like much. How can you make anything? And it turns out you can make a whole lot of money because a lot of people buy stuff on Amazon. But to like normal people that have never heard of it before, even myself, before I knew anything about it, I was like, well, that doesn't sound right. I need to check these claims. But if you just bump into your friends and they're like, so what are you working on? And they're like, oh, like this guy.
Yeah.
So
He thinks he's like gonna be rich, he's like he's a project manager now, like whatever,
yeah,
things where they're like not used to seeing you that way. So I mean, like I'm like, because I've taught music for so long, all my musician friends are like, oh, it sounds like you're like becoming like a greedy capitalist, pig or whatever. I'm like, well, like music is kind of like you don't make a lot of money half the time. Like most music, that's the thing. Like I came from a background where like an artsy background where it's like you're supposed to be happy making no money and like just getting like the short end of the stick all the time, and then just being like, yeah, this is just the way it goes. Like, and I was like,
yeah,
this is so brutal. Like I'm not gonna I can't keep living like this. It's just awful. And so yeah, I was like not doing like I was just sort of giving up at some of the like life in general. I'm just kind of like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna keep like making like money, like no money at this? Like it's horrible. So I mean, and also just like I kind of figured it out. Like I feel good now because I did figure it out essentially. So that's my big like hooray! I proved to myself that I can do it. So so that's cool. But like even going to like the bank, I don't know if I've complained about this to you, but like I'll go that like when I first started taking like bigger checks there from Amazon, they wouldn't believe me. They'd be like, "Where'd you get this check?" And I'm like, "It's from Amazon. I work for Amazon." And they're like, they just wouldn't believe me. But they put my check on hold for like 3 weeks, and I like it kind
what
of
really?
yeah, because like if they don't like they're like, well, we can't take this. This is a check from like the States, and looking at the amount, it doesn't. I don't know, and like let's get the manager over here, and they're like looking at me, and they're looking at the check, and I'm like, and then people in the line are looking at me like, is this bozo? Like, and I'm like, oh, this is like humiliating. But eventually, now when I go there, um, most of the tellers know that I work for Amazon, so they're like, okay, yeah, great, nice. Oh, look how much you made, great. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Thank
Like,
you,
it's
Mr.
like,
Fox.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a sitcom, right? I'm like, people. Yeah, and they did it to me the other day. Like they did it to me yesterday, actually.
Really?
Um, yeah, they're just like, because I work with someone overseas. Like one of my sites is like a partnership, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm sending money overseas because we split the earnings, and they're like, "Who are you sending this money to?" And I'm like, "Oh, just a friend of mine,
It's a Nigerian prince. I don't like to brag,
yeah,
but
wasn't it's not even that. It's not a ton of money, but it's like they still gave me the like an inquisition, and we're
yeah.
like, are you sure you know this person very well? And I'm like, yes, and they're like. And yeah, it was just the manager giving me the third degree again. I'm like, give me a break. Like, it must have been my T-shirt. I had like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles T-shirt on. So
Nice.
they're like, and it was red. So they're like this goof with like, I don't know. It's funny. I don't know. Just like I think some people don't take me too seriously or whatever. And I'm like, you better take me seriously.
Keeping my money here. Yeah,
I'm talking got cash here. Like,
that's right.
well, whatever. Anyway.
Okay, so let's start wrapping it up here. And I have two more questions. And one is sort of like the end goal for your sites. And I'll give you two options. So some people create these sites for like cash flow. And they just want to have like income coming in and they're going to live off the income. And other people, like they want to sell their site for some big exit. So I know
Yeah.
you have a few sites. So you could sort of answer however you want, but those are the main two options.
I like the cash flow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the cash flow myself too.
But at the same time, like, I mean, I've got sites that I probably could sell for, a significant amount now.
Hmm.
So that would be pretty interesting to just, I think at some point I would like to try out that transaction because, just because I don't think that all these sites are like I'm not in love with all of them that much. You know what I mean? Like some of them, like you get tired of certain things, I guess, and it's like but at this point, it's like I've worked on them so much that I can't see myself selling them just yet. But at the same time, it makes sense to me why people would do it. It's like sell this one, make this one, like you
Yeah.
know. So at the right time, I think I'll probably like maybe sell one or two of them. Um, Once I have some better ideas of other sites I can do, but like I don't want to just like sell a really good site to make like a worse site.
Right, right. And I mean, there's no right answer. And for a lot of people, especially, you know, that, have other jobs and stuff, it's really cool to have an influx of, just revenue each month that you can sort of count on. It'll
Yeah,
fluctuate, but it's pretty cool because most of the time, if you're not doing anything crazy,
yeah,
it'll go up and you'll have a few spikes and then it'll come back down and then it'll be kind of even. So
yeah.
very cool. Now, I haven't asked you this before, but if you had to talk about like your goals over the next like 1 to 2 years, sort of long term, like where do you want to be?
Um, I'd say I would want, like, I was thinking about this recently, but just like the idea of traveling, because I've just been stuck here working on these sites. I'd like to travel. I'd like to like do some of this work like the way that these other nomad people do it, where I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm gonna go to like San Francisco and chill there for like a month and like
Right.
work and do my work and like, because it's not gonna change anything, right? It's just like it's the same work, but the laptop goes with you and all that stuff. So
Sure.
like I think traveling for me would just be huge because I don't travel very much and I haven't because I never could afford it. So I mean, if it gets to the point where I can, have a little bit of like cash that I could like be like, oh well, I could put this towards another like site or I could like put this towards like, well-being type stuff, then I might do
Sure.
that at some point. Um, that said, I still kind of get a kick out of like what I'm doing to the point where I want to make some more sites and I want to like make some more money and just be like see how far I can like if I can get to like well actually someone said to me the other like a couple months ago they're like, oh, you're gonna make like people are offering like encouragement. They said like, oh, I can see you making like 5 grand by the end of the year. I'm like, I was only making 2 grand, so I was like, I guess maybe like it's possible, but I don't know. Like, but now I can totally see it happening. So
Yeah.
if I hit that benchmark and then just sort of set up another benchmark to make like, if I could make like 10 grand a month at this, I would be like freaking out, right? Like that'd be pretty crazy to me. But at that point, I'd have like, you know, it would allow me to do a lot more stuff. Like I like to, I've already started doing like using some of my money to like say do recording for my music. Like I write songs and stuff. So
Hmm.
even today, I'm like after this, I'm going to my buddy's house to record, pay him a bit of money, and like just kind of keep it going. Like I wasn't able to do that before because
Cool.
I just couldn't afford it. But now I'm like, hey, you want like $100? Like do a recording session, and it kind of makes me happy, right? So
Very
and
cool.
everybody's happy because everyone like he's gonna get a bit of cash too. So that kind of thing.
Awesome. That is very cool. And I think by maybe next month you could hit that benchmark. And I think by the end of the year, I mean, you know how the retail season is, man. Like
Yeah.
1 year ago, what were you making 1 year ago? Maybe like 50, 200 bucks or something like that.
Yeah, like if like last August, I would say lucky to make $100.
Okay. And now, like, who knows where you can be? The amount of content that you're publishing, like, that stuff can explode over the holidays where it's sort of like unpredictable. Like, it'd be too hard to estimate. So,
Yeah, I have no idea. That's the thing about the holidays that I like. That's kind of scary, but also like awesome. Which is like you make this wave. There's this wave comes in, and then you're
sure.
like, oh, is this gonna be like this for the rest of my life? It's like just that 1 month, and then it's like, oh, things kind of settle down again. But I never. That was like one of the coolest things I've probably ever seen. Just like when the holidays rolled in, I just was like, whoa! I started seeing like the thing where I'd look at my Amazon thing in the morning and be like, how much did I make yesterday? I'd be like, holy shit! Like what? Like it was still brand new or whatever. Seeing like $100 or $200 roll in And I was
Right.
just like, this is crazy. Like, you gotta look at this. Like, you know,
That's
now,
awesome.
yeah, totally. I mean, like, and that's sort of the addicting quality of this too, where once you start seeing how you can like sit here and just type and be like a nerd on the computer, and then like turn that into like some income, it's like it's pretty it's compelling, you know.
Amazing. Well, thanks for joining us today, and it was really great catching up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
So,
thanks, Dave. Any last like words you want to mention people to follow you anywhere or anything like that?
no.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, you got to focus on the prize. You're not blogging or anything. So,
Yeah, not even.
all right, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. See ya.
Yeah, well, see ya.